An attribute of action is a relational attribute. When I say God is knowledgeable, there is no relationship between God and anything else. I am just looking at God as God. But if I say God is a creator, now there is a relationship between the creator and something being created. When there is a relationship between God and something else, we are in the attributes of action. There are many angles we can look at this relationship. We can say that God creates from one angle, gives life from another angle, takes life away from another angle, sustains life and maintains life, all from different angles. Each of these descriptions show a distinct kind of relationship. Exploring God's relationship with creation can be grouped into two main categories: a direct relationship and indirect relationship. When we say God creates, the relationship is straightforward and direct. It is only between God and the thing being created. Let's imagine the thing being created is the world. There is God and there is the world. The relationship between them is that of creation. This is what we call a direct relationship. But when we say God is a sustainer, it becomes an indirect relationship. Now there are three components: God, the sustenance, like air and water, and the one receiving the sustenance, in this case a human. This relationship is mediated, meaning that to fully understand it, we need to consider additional things in the equation. So, in this case, there's a relationship between God and the sustenance, air and water, and a separate relationship between God and the receiver, making it more complex and indirect. Before delving into the attributes of action for God, there are some important points to clarify. All attributes of action can be traced back to attributes of essence. For instance, when we say God possesses power, knowledge, and life, these are attributes of essence. From these, we can derive attributes like all-seeing and all-hearing, which stem from his knowledge and power. These are known as attributes of action, depending on which way we look at it. Some attributes can be viewed from different perspectives. For example, when we consider God as a creator and is creating something, it is an attribute of action. However, when we say God has the ability to create, this becomes an attribute of essence. God always has the ability to create. This ability is part of his power. Attributes of action depend on the receiver's capacity to receive the action. If the receiver is limited in time, the act by God may appear limited in time because it wasn't there before. For example, God may have given you knowledge now, but 1,000 years ago you did not have all this knowledge. Also, there is only so much knowledge we can acquire in our lifespan. This can lead to misconceptions that God is limited, but in reality, any limitations are imposed by the receiver and not by God. To illustrate, imagine standing before the ocean with a small bucket. You can only collect a limited amount of water because of the size of the bucket, but the ocean seems to be infinite. The limitation here lies with the receiver and not the ocean.